Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Advanced. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the program. Welcome to Advanced class number 164. And today we will start with a review of yesterday's material, but first I will introduce my guest. She's been here for a few days now. Mm-hmm. She keeps coming back.
You can't get rid of me.
Luring her back somehow, and here she is. It's Hannah. How are you, Hannah?
Hey, great. How are you today, Kyle?
Great. Thank you very much. And today we will try our best to get through all the material.
Okay, and we'll do that today.
We'll do it. But first, a little review.
Mm-hmm.
We have this structure, had I. So basically, it's exactly the same as if I had. We're using this in the third conditional, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I had seen her, I would have said hello. Had I seen her, I would have said hello, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can practice this. How about I'll give you a sentence in one structure and you can give me the equivalent?
Okay.
All right?
Great. I'm ready.
Now at home, you have to be ready as well at home, okay? So, if I had been there, well, this is kind of similar to my example. If I had been there, I would have seen her.
Had I been there, I would have seen her.
Yeah, I would have. And we're using the contraction. That's right.
Yes, very important to use the contraction.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If I had known, I wouldn't have called her.
Had I known, I wouldn't have called her.
Right. If I had worn my seatbelt, I wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Had I worn my seatbelt, I wouldn't have gotten hurt.
If I had been on time, I would have met the president.
Had I been on time, I would have met the president.
If I had studied more, I would have passed the exam.
Had I studied more, I would have passed the exam.
If I had driven there alone, I would have been bored.
Had I driven there alone, I would have been bored.
Bored, yeah.
Born. I wanted to say born. I would have been bored.
Yeah. Do you drive, Hannah?
I don't drive here in Spain, but I drive when I go home to Los Angeles, yes.
That's true for a lot of us foreigners, I think. It's the same for me. I drive as soon as I get back in North America, I feel I need to have a car or access to a car. Mm-hmm. But here in Spain, in Madrid at least, I take the metro, I take the bus.
Walk.
And I don't feel that I need the car. But, North America, the cities are built for cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really can't survive without a car.
Yeah. It's funny, I come from a small town, and when I go home for Christmas, in Canada, I don't have a mobile phone.
Really?
I don't have a mobile phone.
Oh, okay.
When I go home, and I don't miss it, because when I lived there, I never had a mobile phone in Canada.
Oh,
which was really weird. But I never had a mobile phone in Canada, and I'm in a small town, so if I want to know where my friend, if I want to meet with a friend, I call his house. If he's not in his house, then he's gone to town, as we say. Oh, he's in town. So if he's in town, I'll get in the car, and I'll drive to town, and I'll find him.
Right.
I'll just see someone, hey, have you seen Kevin or whoever? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he's over in whatever. And,
and there are 3 places that he can be at.
Yeah, we only have 2 bars. We have 2, for example, in the evening, if you wanted to meet your friend in a bar, there are only 2 in my hometown.
Okay.
Well, there's a bowling alley. One is in a bowling alley and the other one is in a hotel.
Man, so your town's really small.
And there used to be a pool hall.
Ooh,
and they
fancy.
had a bar, of course.
Oh, okay.
So either you're at the pool hall, or the bowling alley, or the hotel. The best one is the hotel, though. They have quite a nice bar there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if you don't want to see someone? You really can't hide from that person.
Yeah, you can't hide.
No.
You just stay home.
Oh, right. You just stay home.
Because there's no alternative, really.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, Hannah, why don't we move on and take a look at our translation list? All right. Translation. Yes, it is time for our translation list, and it's list number 60. This is the review of list number 60, so this is it.
That's it.
The last moment here for our translation lists.
The last
What can I say?
translation
The last,
list.
yeah, this is it.
Now, I know at home you're thinking, oh, darn, oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Well, you can always go back and repeat
That's right.
the translation list. That's the great thing about them.
And there are so many great structures in here, really. There are a lot of structures, so review.
Exactly.
And it's not boring, There's so many different structures. So go back and review. But today, translation list 60. Let's give it a try.
Last one. Okay. Tu éxito tiene mucho que ver con la imagen que proyectas.
Yes, your success has a lot to do with the image you project. Project, not project, but
Right.
project.
Exactly.
Right, so the verb, project. Right.
Dicen que una imagen vale 1000 palabras.
Ah, yeah. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's what they say.
Now, notice the pronunciation. Picture. T-U. Picture. It sounds like CH. Picture, not picture.
Yeah,
No,
it's-
picture.
It's like Portugal.
Nature.
Mature.
Future.
Statue.
Literature.
Furniture. Expenditure.
Expenditure.
Yeah, have you ever been to Portugal?
Yes.
Did you take pictures when you were in Portugal?
Yes, I took a lot of pictures when I was in Portugal.
Did you take a picture of a statue?
No, I didn't take a picture of a statue, but I took a lot of pictures of nature. And I read some literature.
Did you sit on furniture while you were reading literature?
Yes. I sat on a lot of furniture in Portugal
Okay.
when I was there.
Okay.
All right. Tenemos años de experiencia tratando con los medios.
We have years of experience dealing with the media. The media. Yeah.
¿Cómo piensas resolver este asunto?
Now, if you were paying attention yesterday, you'll remember this. How do you plan to solve this matter? How do you plan to solve this matter? Good question.
We never say, how do you think to solve this matter? No. Pensar plus verb in Spanish, the equivalent is the verb to plan. Literally planificar, planear. ¿Puedes desglosar esto por grupos?
You can, question. Can you break this down by groups? So to break down, desglosar, you have to break down. Like we could break down an invoice. Maybe we could break it down by, department or whatever. Desglosar, to break down.
La tendencia general es favorable.
The general trend, tendencia, right? Trend. The general trend is favorable.
Good.
The general trend. General, 2 syllables, right? General.
General.
General trend is favorable.
Yes, pronunciation here, favorable. Ese F-A sounds like an E-I. Favorable.
Yeah,
Favorable.
favorable. Not fav. No.
Exacto.
Favorable.
Okay, estamos dedicados a una causa noble.
We are, or we could contract it, we're. I automatically did that.
Yeah.
But we are devoted to a noble cause. Teaching English. It's a noble cause.
Yes, it is.
I think it is.
It's a privilege for me to teach English here in Spain. I really think so. I feel like it's my duty, it's my honor to help Spaniards with their English.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy it. ¿A qué no puedes traducir esta frase?
Well, let's see if I can prove you wrong. I bet you can't translate this sentence. I bet you can't translate this sentence.
Interesting,
¿A qué
because
no puedes? Very interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that structure really in Spanish.
Yeah.
I bet.
it's so strange because in Spanish it's interrogative, but in English it's affirmative.
Yeah,
The sentence.
I bet you can't do that. I bet you can't do 100 push-ups, for example. I bet you can't. It's like una apuesta, right?
Exactly.
Una apuesta. To make a bet. I bet you can't do that. I bet you can't translate this sentence. Okay. And yeah, I bet most people weren't able to translate that sentence because it's difficult. And until you've studied it, right?
Exactly.
Until you've studied it, then you can do
Then
it.
it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, el secreto radica en tu propia fuerza de voluntad.
Ooh. Difficult.
Yeah.
The secret lies. It lies in your own willpower. Fuerza de voluntad. The secret lies in your own willpower. That's what the secret is. The secret is that it lies in your own willpower. The secret to so many things, really.
Okay, vuelve a repasar todas las listas. This is a good tip right there.
Yeah. Go back over all the lists. Good advice. Go back over all the lists. So go back and review them. Go back. So you were already there at the start. Go back over them. Go over. Like repasar, to go over. Go back over all the lists. Good.
Hacen falta 10,000 horas de estudio para aprender un idioma. I'm a little tongue-tied today.
It takes. That's all right. That's all right.
Un idioma.
This is an interesting sentence here. It takes 10,000 hours of study to learn a language. Wow. 10,000 hours. So, you have to be persistent, bit by bit. You have to keep going.
Yes. Persistent and consistent with your studying.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one, dun dun dun, the last sentence, and in the last of the whole series of 60 translation lists.
This is it. Drum. Can we get a drum roll here?
Okay.
Can we get a drum roll? Oh yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
No hay atajos ni fórmulas mágicas.
There are no shortcuts or magic formulas. That's true, isn't it, Hannah?
Yep. Very true.
There are no drum rolls, I was going to say. There are no shortcuts or magic formulas.
That's right. You just have to put in the hard work
Yeah.
and the dedication, the time and the effort.
Yeah. No, there are no shortcut. A shortcut, yeah. No shortcuts. No magic formulas.
No.
It's hard work, right?
Yes.
Hard work.
It's the only way.
But the thing is, we were talking about it the other day, Hannah. Hard work doesn't have to be undesirable. It can be fun.
Right. It can be enjoyable.
It's hard work, but it can be enjoyable.
Right.
So find ways to make it enjoyable, right? All right. Good. I hope you did well on that list at home. Let's move on. Shall we move on? Okay. So moving on now, here we have, let's see. Oh, yes. It is time for our expression of the day. Expression of the day. Yes, it is time for the expression of the day. The expression of the day today is to be up in the air. It's all up in the air. What does that mean? It's up in the air.
Right. Something that hasn't been decided yet
Yeah.
or something that hasn't been set.
Right. It's
So
kind of
you-
like undetermined.
Right.
It's still up in the air.
Right.
Right.
It's undecided, undetermined. You still don't know what's going to happen or what the decision is.
Where's the party going to be? Well, that's still up in the air. We haven't decided yet. Right. What's the final strategy? It's still up in the air.
Right.
It's all up in the air. We don't know yet. We haven't decided. We haven't finalized it, right?
Exactly.
So there you go. To be up in the air is our expression of the day. And now we have a phrasal verb. Everybody loves phrasal verbs, don't they, Hannah?
Oh, yes.
People, yeah. I know there's probably 10,000 people right now saying, yeah.
Yes.
Phrasal verbs.
Teach us, Kyle
I've been waiting
and
for this
Hannah.
moment, And here we go. Oh, it's to get out of something. To get out of something. or as I would say, to get out of something.
Right.
Right? But my
Your Canadian accent.
pronunciation, yeah. But what does this mean, to get out of something, Hannah? What's that all about?
Okay, so let's say you have an engagement, right? A meeting, a wedding, a party, whatever it is, an event, something that you're supposed to do. And you get out of it means, if you get out of it, that means you find a way to not have to do that. An obligation or a commitment or an engagement, and you don't follow through, you don't do that.
Yeah. So like to avoid having to do something.
Exactly.
Right?
Avoiding having to do something.
Yeah. In fact, when I asked Hannah, I said, Hannah, would you come to the radio? She said, yeah, sure. And then she called me this afternoon and said, Kyle, I have to wash my hair. And I said, you're just trying to get out of it, aren't you? And no, I'm kidding. I'm joking, of course. She didn't try to get out of it.
Right. No,
She
I
didn't
didn't.
try to get out. So to avoid it,
Right.
to get out of something, or to get out of doing something.
And usually it's something that you don't really feel like doing. So if you
Yeah.
don't feel like doing something you wanted, you usually look for a way to get out of doing it. For example, let's say your friend or someone you know asks you to help them move.
Yeah.
Right? So move, let's say, on a Saturday. Like your whole Saturday, you have to help someone move their boxes and their furniture and everything. So you might say, oh gosh, how can I get out of helping my friend move on Saturday?
And then unfortunately, we often use it in the negative and say, I couldn't get out of this, or I
Right.
can't get out of, I have to go to this meeting and I can't get out of it. The boss, the boss wants me to be there. I can't get out of it. There's
Right.
no way I can get out of it. Let's try a few questions.
Okay.
Well, have you ever got out of going to a meeting?
Yes. I've gotten out of going to meetings.
Yeah, have you? When you were young, did you get out of going to school sometimes for different reasons?
Yes. Sometimes I got out of going to school.
If you were sick,
sometimes.
I suppose.
Yeah, if I was sick or for some unexpected emergency.
Yeah. In Canada, we often get out of going to school because of snow.
Yeah, that's true. And since I'm from LA, we never had that, of course.
Yeah, and we usually had, in a winter, we would typically have 3 or 4, maybe more, 4, maybe 5 snow days.
Oh, lucky.
And it was great when you were a kid, when you were young, because
Yeah.
you'd wake up. I remember waking up and looking out the window. Oh, there's a load of snow.
Right.
So we had to turn on the radio, and they had announcements. And in the morning, when all the kids in the area would be listening to the radio to try to see if school was canceled.
Right.
And they would always have a list, and the following schools are closed, and they would start naming the schools, and
And
you'd
you're
just
like,
be
with your fingers
exactly,
crossed.
fingers crossed, waiting around there. Yes, and then they would say your school, and then, all right. So you can get. In other words, you just got out of
Right.
going to school. Yeah,
Lucky. Yeah, I didn't have that.
to get out of going to school on a snow day, and then of course we would spend the whole day outside playing in the snow. It was great. Yeah, great days. Good times. Yeah. Great for the teachers as well. I later realized that the teachers loved it just as much as
I'm
we did.
sure.
In fact, I remember having a teacher once when I was in high school he was a young teacher. He was probably 23. And he was just starting. And I remember one day it started snowing. And at lunchtime, I remember seeing him by the window. And he was just hoping. He was hoping that it would snow so they would cancel. Because sometimes they would cancel school halfway because they thought if they waited a few more hours, the kids wouldn't be able to get home on the bus.
Right.
So they'd cancel at lunch. Everyone would go home early. And I remember seeing this teacher. He was a French guy because he taught me chemistry in French. And his name was Mr. Duguay. And I remember Mr. Stéphane Duguay was his name. And he said, winter storm day. He was saying.
Everybody go home.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was,
It's time to go home now.
Yeah, his fingers were crossed as well. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, so why don't we move on, Hannah? What's our next thing? Oh, it is time. Let's move on now to the vocabulary of the day. Vocabulary of the day. All right, it's time for the vocabulary of the day, and we are running out of time, so we're going to have to do this really quick.
Okay.
Marcha atrás.
Reverse.
Reverse. Revisar, repasar.
To review.
Review, yes. Cuesta abajo.
Downhill.
Downhill. Jubilación anticipada.
Early retirement.
And petición.
Request.
Request, yes. And our technicians here are requesting that we finish the program.
Yes.
It's because we're out of time. We're more than out of time. But thank you so much, Hannah, for joining me.
Kyle.
It's been great.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.